Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about something that is actually important. And I was busy with something that made me think about this. And if you told me to little Some-Belgian-prepper about when he was 14 years old that I would be doing this today, he would be laughing. And that is this. These are some books, for learning languages, in this case French. Why? Because I noticed that I could uh, do some extra learning some extra French, because yeah, it's important. I noticed lately that there are more and more people with, especially from a French language, coming into this part. I live literally in the center of Flanders, which is the Dutch speaking part of Belgium. But the problem is, I don't know why, a lot of French tourists, a lot of foreign people who come to live here who speak French, and a lot of people from the Brussels part of Belgium, which is the capital, where they mainly speak French, and they start to move more to the countryside. So with all those things, I thought could be handier to sharpen my French, because I was not always the best in it. I can save myself, but it can use some sharpening, I would say. But it has made me think that it is very important to learn other languages, especially during in shitty defense. It could be so helpful, because during shitty defense, people from different places will go to as a refugee, or they come from different parts of your country where they speak a different dialect, different language. Like here in Belgium, we speak Dutch, French, and then a little part that speak German. So French and Dutch are the languages that I would encounter mostly on a daily basis. Another reason why I make this video is because at my work we regularly get uh, truckers who come deliver wood from the Slavic regions far away. The problem is, usually these truckers, they only speak their own language, which is usually Romanian, sometimes Russian, Polish. So they mainly speak Slavic languages, which is very annoying, because I always have to deal with the paperwork with them, or tell them where they have to drop it off, and they can't speak any other languages than there, which is fascinating, because they come to our parts. They probably have driven so many times towards or to Western Europe, and they still don't know any Western Europe languages. For example, uh, most of the truckers that I encountered, they can't speak Dutch. Nope. They can't speak French. Parler de français? No. They can't speak English. So that's already a big communication failure. Uh, they can't speak German. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein. So um, Swedish, Svenska? No Svenska. So that's already a problem, and I find it very annoying, because I would think if you are a person who works internationally, especially as a trucker, you should know at least one other language than whatever you're speaking to. And yeah, I speak Dutch. I speak Flemish. I speak, not that which many people would say it's the same thing, but yeah, you had never spoken to someone from West Flanders, but nonetheless, I speak French. Je parle de français. Um, I speak a little bit German. Ich spreche in Deutsch. Um, and I know very, very little South Africans. So ik spreek Zuid-Afrika. So yeah, it's very, even with all this knowledge, I still have problems sometimes with communicating with people who are even less, who are worse at languages than me. So that's why I want to make this video. So learn languages. For example, if you are from America, I would expect that you would learn English and Spanish, because those are the most languages you would need In Canada, I would say English and French, obviously. And in Europe, the at least one or two languages that are being used in your neighboring countries. I would say speak one of the neighboring country that you have most in common with, uh, which could be French or German in my case, or an international language like English. Most people in Western Europe can speak English, so if you know that, that wouldn't be a problem. But it's one of those things in Belgium that is a problem because most almost every Flemish person knows English, but only a small part of the Walloons, the French part of Belgium, can speak English. So yeah, that's a big problem. But if you can't speak the language, then you will have to resort to other ways of communicating. And before we're going to talk about these alternative ways, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my books called Bloody Crosses uh, and the Jason Murders. So if you're interested, take a look in the description for my books. All right. So the one way of communicating is via electronic ways. For example, translators. If you got a cell phone, which is something that a lot of truckers do, and they want to speak to me, they tick, and they show me interest translation. All right, that's way. But if you don't have a smartphone, what you do then? Then you would try to figure out certain words that you know from their language, perhaps some common words or something international that they could understand. If that's not the case, you can resort to either how do you in English call this game? Pictionary, that you try to make movements with your hands to make gestures that people have to guess. If you're good in that game, you can make people understand you what you try to mean. So that's already handy, and you I would say play it with a lot of different peoples because especially people who never have played it, and that's way you can learn in a playful way, especially perhaps with your partner, your children, how to communicate with each other on a more basic way. And basic, I mean that anyone could understand it. Whoever you are trying to make the gestures, try to figure out what the international, more biological kind of way is to interpret certain movements, gestures, or what you're trying to say. And the last thing I would say is try to try to communicate with pen and paper or pen and pencil, whatever, and try to draw what you try to mean. If you want bread, draw a bread, and that could be helpful. You can for water, certain location, arrowhead, map. So try to become more basic. The more basic you can, the more ways, the more a range you have to communicate. I once heard somebody say that if you really uh, want to learn a language, if you are good with it, if you can communicate with it with children. So if a child of a certain language can understand you, then you can communicate with everyone. Is what they try to say. All right. So yeah, this was just a little bit of a thought experiment. I hope it made you realize something about learning languages, which is also a sort of skill that you have, learning languages. But yeah, you don't have to learn 11 languages. Just like I said, learn your language of the neighboring country and one international language that is most preferable around your continent, I would say. All right, so this was just some thoughts. I'm going back to studying, and I would say see you in the next video. Cheers, like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.